So we finally got it, and this is easily one of the best chapters in the series. I can't praise this chapter enough. I got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. But first, real quick, let me just say that I'm not sure if this is chapter 127 or a continuation of chapter 126, because we didn't get like a cover page for this one like we typically do when the new chapters start. But I'm just going to label it 127 for now, because that's what everyone else is doing. But you know, until we get confirmation, I'll just update it accordingly. So as expected, Garou's going right after Darkshine, giving him like a feral barrage, we'll say, because he's still like in his unconscious state. And we're really seeing the difference between S-class heroes like Puri Puri Prisoner and Darkshine here, because I guess Garou did like a similar barrage, you know, maybe a little less to Puri Puri Prisoner back in chapter 115, and that completely wrecked him. Like, he couldn't even get up after taking just one of those. As to where Darkshine here is just like not even blocking really, he's kind of just taking it, and then all he does is like flex really hard, and that's enough to like push Garou off of him, and then he just shoulder ramps him through the wall. So yeah, like Darkshine, I mean, we already knew, but he's ridiculously powerful. Like, Garou is clearly dragon level strength here. It's debatable if he's mid or high, like in his feral state, but still, for anyone to just stand there and take that and just kind of shrug it off is like insane. The Darkshine is proving that he's easily one of the strongest characters in the series. Then Garou comes back with that spinning kick thing that he does. This is awesome. It's really showing how far Garou's speed has come. It looks like something out of the Ninja Village, honestly, but it's still not fast enough to keep up with Darkshine's impressive reflexes here. So we're seeing some of his speed as well in perception, and he just knocks Garou. This looks very similar to like when Saitama punched Overgrown Rover, like if you match up the panels here. But he hits Garou so hard that he's waking him up. So we finally have the real Garou back here, and he just still thinks that he's fighting Orochi at this point. So that just shows how hard Orochi knocked him back in chapter 92 when Orochi gave him the his own Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist. And of course, he's still worrying about Tario. That's his whole motivation for coming here in the first place. But this dialogue that we get from Garou from here on out is just like peak Garou. I just love it so much. This is perfect. And then Garou squares up into the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist stance. And this is an exact replica of the same sequence that we see Bang do in chapter 83 when he squares up to take on Garou. So I just think this is showing how far Garou's Water Stream has come, because it's never looked this clean before. Like his fingers are kind of clenched a little bit, and his stance is a little staggered, like he's a little hunched over, but this is like perfect stance here. So yeah, I just think this is just showing his evolution and just how much stronger he's become, because, you know, as we'll find out, one of Garou's growth mechanisms in this chapter, which I'll get to, of course. And now that Garou's composed, we get to see what he's really capable of, because he immediately counters Darkshine's strike with like this hook kick that just puts him in the dirt. This is awesome, but then of course this pisses him off, and he just like flexes to become so big that he just looks like an alien or like some kind of monster or something, because like his traps become so disproportionately huge that he looks like he's like becoming like a Resident Evil monster or something. And he just blitzes Garou so hard and so fast that he can't even defend against it. Like, he tries to use the Water Stream, but he just busts through it, and then hits Garou so hard that he friggin' cracks all of his ribs and sends him through like 15 walls of the Monster Association. This is amazing. Like, this is super powerful stuff here. Not many characters, I think, would be able to take this on the chin the way that Garou is. This actually reminds me of when Saitama punched Rover again. Like, it already reminded me of when he punched Garou initially, but this, I mean, of course, it's not the same scale of when Saitama punched Rover, you know, like the massive shockwave that it creates, but I would say that it's maybe half the impact of that. I don't know, something like that. It looks very similar, and it kind of reminds me of that. So then we get some super interesting information, and it's that Darkshine has actually squared off against Silver Fang in the past. They had like sparred, and as you'd guess, Silver Fang just completely schools him. because, you know, Silver Fang is extremely powerful. And I know that a lot of manga readers are kind of like unsure if Silver Fang is like the true number 3 hero, if he is like that powerful, because he does have some awesome feats, but they're not really like that definitive of like his absurd levels of strength that the community puts on him. So I think, so at least I hope that this clears up a lot of things, because we see how Garou is doing against Darkshine here, and it's pretty impressive, obviously, but like, it's said by him that he didn't even like hit him once, pretty much. And Darkshine didn't receive any damage because they were just sparring and everything, but still pretty telling of Silver Fang's power, because, you know, I think we all assume that Darkshine's probably like a high dragon in power here. I mean, come on, I think that's the consensus, right? But it's also showing that like Darkshine knows the difference between Silver Fang's water stream and Garou's water stream. And like I was talking about, he definitely has improved, but it's still not on the level of Bang's mastery, which is like the apex of the art. So then Garou gets back up. Super impressive, like I said, that he's able to take this on the chin and still get up, even despite having cracked ribs right now. But it's just showing further how far Garou has come. And then Darkshine just says another interesting thing when he's like, you've only made it this far just because of luck. And if you would have like ran into Atomic Samurai, Tatsumaki, Flashy Flash, or King, you would have been dead before you even get to show off any of the techniques you worked so hard on. And that's somewhat true. And I think more so if Hero Hunter Garou would have ran into those heroes, then he probably would have died. I mean, he did run into King, and we already saw what happened. But if it was like Atomic or Flashy Flash or Tatsumaki and it was Hero Hunter Garou, I mean, come on, he easily probably would have been killed by them. But I think the Garou right now would definitely be able to compete against all of them. I mean, Tatsumaki somewhat, but definitely Atomic Samurai and Flashy Flash. I don't think he would be instantly killed by them, especially like starting with the Garou that fought against Orochi. I think he's more than enough to be competitive against them. But then Garou says something interesting as well, because he's like, yeah, they're strong, but if you're able to unleash violence on others without ever questioning whether it's right, then yeah, I'm sure you can win any fight. It means you've thrown away your kindness. And he's remembering when the A-class or the squad led by Death Gatling was like ready to just blow him away, and the shed behind him that was holding Terrio, they weren't questioning if there was any like civilians nearby or anything. They were only concerned with like killing Garou. It wasn't about, you know, what's right or wrong. They just had a vendetta against him because basically it was like revenge for him taking down their fellow heroes. And he's like, yeah, the Monster Association, they're wrong. The heroes are wrong. Everybody's wrong. And it also goes back into earlier what he was talking about in this chapter when Darkshine was like subtly trying to recruit him to the Hero Association. He's like, you're all the same. You both want to whore me out. You both just want to kill, and you all think that you're doing it in the name of your own individual justice, but you all suck, and that's why I'm going to break the status quo by basically destroying everyone tonight, and I'm going to be the last one standing. So then Garou goes in for like his big attack against Darkshine, and he starts using the Cross-Fang Dragon Slayer Fist, the very same thing that we saw Bang and Bomb use a couple chapters back to take down Rover, but he's doing this by himself, which is said to basically be impossible, even for like a world-class genius. But given that Garou is like the highest level of martial arts, you know, talent, genetics, all of that stuff, that he could just do it by himself, and apparently he acquired it subconsciously by like forcing himself to go through suicidal training, dojo challenges, and the hero hunts. And he was able to copy and acquire physical techniques that go beyond both of those techniques into the Cross-Fang Dragon Slayer Fist. And also while he's doing this to Darkshine, Darkshine's like, is he getting faster? Oh, he is. He's gaining so much momentum so quickly. And this is going into Garou's growth mechanism, which is finally revealed in this chapter when it says that in battle against the strong, the harder he is pushed, the more that he can unleash his true ability with experience and grow. So yeah, Garou's broken, and I talked about this in my original How Powerful is Red Garou video, which was spoilers at that point, but now that we've got into the manga, it no longer is so. But yeah, Garou, you know, as we speculated, he's basically like a shonen protagonist, which is, you know, probably what one is going with his character, you know, in like his own little way. But he just has like all the broken abilities that aren't really said too much, like when we're looking at shonen protagonists. But like now it's just put out on the plate, like, yeah, he grows when he goes against stronger opponents. Like this is kind of like applicable to real life. Like, we do see some of like the top talents in all of the sports. They kind of get better as the game goes on, especially if they're pushed accordingly when they're going against somebody that's like a little bit better than them, or just even more so like a lot better than them. They just rise to the occasion and they're able to overcome them. Maybe they'll lose like the first quarter or the first couple rounds, but then you'll see them grow and adapt in the further stages of the match or the fight or whatever, or the game. And this is exactly what's going on with Garou. And we've seen him do this multiple times throughout the series. Like, most recently, we saw him use it against Orochi, because mid fight against Orochi, after getting stabbed in the stomach, he was getting faster as he was able to dodge his horns. That was pointed out by Garo. And as Garou is unloading this savage onslaught on Darkshine, he actually starts to break Darkshine's will, because he's like, for an instant, the word defeat came in my mind. So this is also going into Darkshine's character. Like, yes, before this, we just thought he was like this super powerful, you know, unbreakable, you know, physically and internally type of individual. But no, we're seeing that he does have a weakness, and that he kind of succumbs to being overwhelmed. So this might be like his overall weakness. Like, on the outside, he's basically unbreakable, but on the inside, he's kind of fragile, possibly. I mean, we'll go deeper into this as the chapters go on, but right now, we're seeing a chink in his armor. So like in a last-ditch effort, Darkshine launches the Super Ali Bazooka at him, but then Garou counters with his own strike and collides with him and is able to fend him off. And then we get some of the most important narration that we've ever gotten in this arc so far, and that is Garou's limiter is starting to break. So yeah, if you were like super surprised and excited by that, you're warranted, because this is the second time, as far as I know, the limiter has ever been mentioned. Like, it was discovered in chapter 88 by Dr. Genus, and it hasn't really been talked about since then. And besides, I mean, just within context to Saitama, this is another character who is reaching the point of removing or breaking their limiter. So this is incredible. Now, he hasn't broken it yet, obviously, but it's starting to break. So this is showing that Garou is coming close to the point that Saitama reached. So I'm going to make an entire video dedicated to this sequence and how the limiter relates to Garou. And I also just want to talk about Garou's abilities in another video as well. So I can't really go too much into it in this one. But let me just point out right now that this new pseudo transformation, I suppose, that we see Garou going under, where it's like the spiral going around his stomach. Well, it's like, we see like that circular thing going around his stomach, because that's where Orochi stabbed him. So it's like his clothes fused with him and healed his wound that he had. But also it's like forming like a new kind of costume for him, I suppose. But we also see him change again, because like his hair's changed again. It's kind of become more Super Saiyan 2-esque now. And both of his eyes have become like, I guess, red now, which only it was like one before. Actually, at points in this chapter, both of his eyes were like kind of clear, and it kind of like went off and on. Maybe he was coming closer to his humanity, you know, with the morality that he was reaching on in this chapter. But now that he's like being pushed so much by Darkshine, he's going further into what I guess suppose his pseudo-monstrification is happening here, and he's transformed again. He's gone to the next stage. He's coming close to removing his limiter. So now he's like, I guess, closer to a monster than he's ever been, because we even see like his teeth are kind of getting jaggedy right now. Another fun little piece of trivia on this is that Murata actually showed us this like 2 years ago on stream. This exact design for Garou, and I was like wondering if this was ever going to become a thing. I actually forgot about it for the longest time, but now that we see it, it's like, okay, he was saving it for the Darkshine fight. But that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Like I said, I'm going to make a couple follow-up videos to this chapter because there's just so much to talk about. But yeah, I love this chapter. 10 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed it too. I'm pretty sure you did. But let me know what you thought about this one in the comments, please. And if you liked it, also, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.